Before we get into this, if this is the first time you've seen any ReDriven content, go and have a look at our main channel. There we get into all the ins and outs of all the pros and cons of any second-hand car you might be looking for.
And also, if you are already part of the ReDriven community, make sure you hit subscribe on this channel, More ReDriven, for more ReDriven. We've got some super exciting stuff coming up, so yeah, don't miss it. Now look, we understand calling something the greatest motorsport event you've ever competed in is a massive call, but this year's Targa Classica, I am struggling to think of any event that has ever topped it. You?
Same. Look, in terms of the overall vibe of the event, in every attribute of that event was just the best.
The levels of camaraderie, how eclectic the range of cars and even the people were.
Yeah.
Again, as I'm repeating myself, it's probably the best I've done.
Yeah, all the owners of the cars there were proper car people,
yeah.
And there wasn't a pretentious wanker in sight.
How about we explain, because it's not a normal, like it's called Targa Classica, but it's not a normal kind of Targa rally, it's a regulation rally. We should explain what that even is.
Yeah, I must admit, going into it, I'd not done one of these events before, and I was a bit worried because it's not an outright speed event and fastest time wins and biggest budget wins. I thought it might be a little bit, I don't know, not that interesting, to be honest.
Yeah.
But once you get into it, and then you get your head around the way the regularity event works,
yeah.
The competitiveness is very much still there, I can tell you that, even though it's not about outright speed.
So the way it works, basically you've got sort of timed stages or stages that are a particular distance over a particular time, rather than just balls to the wall, how fast can we go? For example, you might rock up to a go-kart track, and the go-kart track has been separated into sort of 6 sectors. So for sector 1, you have to do 26.4 kilometers an hour, and then sector 2, you've got to do 43.6 kilometers an hour. But the problem is,
you have to do it in 8 seconds,
yes,
or 7 seconds.
Well, the whole thing. You've got to do the whole thing in that particular time, or you've got to do that particular section in an amount of seconds.
Yeah, and the other type of competitive stage, we'll call it, would be on a section of open road. There would be a section marked out of, let's call it, anything from 5 to 10 kilometers long, and you would know when the start of the section is and when the end of it is, and the goal is to maintain an average speed across that. And the road book was your typical road book, all marked out with tulips. In fact, the whole event was not pace noted, but it was a road book, and it was every bit as accurate and set out the same as any road book in any competitive rally.
We have to say a massive thank you to our partners Wipertech, because they're the ones responsible for us doing this.
Yeah.
It was their car, it was their amazing hospitality that got us to do this event, and we cannot thank them enough.
Yeah.
And the car that they put forward to us to be our car for the event, it was a 1971 Mini that was running a Yamaha R1 motorbike engine, and it was wild. It might be the loudest car I've ever been in.
Yeah, and by far the most torque steery car I've ever been in.
Oh my God. Day one for us, which was the Sunday, the event's Monday through to Thursday. So Sunday we had to pick up the car from Wipertech and drive it down to the Mornington Peninsula, about an hour and 40 minutes or so. The longest hour and 40 minutes of our lives.
And we should also point out that it was pissing down rain.
Torrential rain.
This car had semi-slicks on it.
Yep.
And a lot of torque steer, and it was a very steep. Oh, and I should also point out, it had the R1 transmission as well, so it was a sequential gearbox.
Yes.
A little bit cranky.
Yeah, because it revs to 15,000 RPM or 14 or 15,000 RPM, so anything kind of under 8 doesn't like that.
Yeah, the upside, it was fun in the wet, but the downside, it was fun in the wet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we're on this freeway heading down to the Mornington Peninsula, and we're both going, how are we going to do this? Well, it was exhausting in the first hour. It was just...
Oh, and it's skating around all over the road, and we're praying for a dry patch.
Oh my God.
Still having the best time of our lives, though, I should point out.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
We did a driver swap kind of towards the end of getting there. My turn to drive, going up this slight embankment, just sort of feeding on the power, and it just did this what? And wheel spun.
Violently.
I thought we were in the shrubs, that's the end of the rally. Yeah. And then you rock up to this beautiful accommodation in Mornington Peninsula, and you're just seeing some of the first sight of some of the cars there, and you're like, oh my God, there's Ferrari 296 GTB, there's a Lotus Esprit.
Old school Aussie muscle cars,
Tiranas.
Tiranas.
Yeah.
Just a very diverse collection of cars, yeah.
If you're into cars, like everything from an NC MX-5 through to a Ferrari 812 Superfast and everything in between, pre-war stuff, some crazy cars. Yeah. So the first night, then we go to the event on the first day, which is again this beautiful resort, absolutely stunning, and that's the first time we get to see all of the cars and meet all of the drivers.
Yeah. All of the cars in a row was a good solid 3 minutes walk from one end to the other. There was, I don't know how many entrances, was there 150 cars?
Something like that, something crazy.
A lot of cars.
Yeah, and again, the hospitality they turn on is just phenomenal. Great food, great coffee, great company. So we get into day one. Kicked off around lunchtime. And I'm driving first, all's good, and everybody loved the Yamaha powered Mini. It was a bit of a star of the show.
It did turn a lot of heads because it sounded insane.
So then we're, 10 minutes into the first stage?
Yeah, about that.
And I go to sort of turn, through this kind of little car park area and just snapped, and I had no steering. Okay, so we're about 12 minutes into the event.
Yep. The car is broken.
Not that broken. Here, we'll show you.
That's not connected to the steering wheels at all.
That's not supposed to happen. Meanwhile, all of our competitors are driving past.
Yeah.
Can you fix it?
I don't know. I will try. I can probably get it moving, but I don't know if I can fix it well enough to continue. Now, as a mechanic, one of the things you learn early is always use the right tools for the right application. The steering shaft that goes down onto the top of the rack, the coupling there had basically decoupled and it was no longer connected to the steering rack, so no steering.
That was the end of the steering. But Jim, being a genius mechanic, fixed the steering. I barely helped. I think I filmed most of it, which was great. Yeah. So fixed the steering, we're back on the road. All is good. All is not good, because then I noticed the gear changes were just getting a little grumpier.
Yeah.
And between gear changes, like I was trying to be as mechanically sympathetic as I possibly could be, but then the gearbox just started making some horrible sounds.
Should point out that the noises it started making were there from the start, but barely noticeable. So it just got to the point where the noises were just getting unbearable.
It initially sounded like a straight cut gearbox, like in a racing car, which we're both relatively used to. But then the straight cut whine was joined by what sounded like someone pouring marbles into the gearbox. Bit of an update. Jim fixed the steering, which is fantastic. Got back on the road.
The steering's great.
Steering's fantastic. Steering works beautifully if the car moved forward, which it no longer does. Because
you think the transfer case has basically left the chat? Yeah.
Yeah. Smells not great. Sounds terrible.
You know that smell of burning gear oil? Yeah, we got that.
That's it. Don't know what happens now. Not sure.
Yeah.
We just told the Wipertech crew we're waiting for a plan. I'm sure the backup car will be here soon. Still looks cool. Yeah. It's great.
Time of death, 4:20.
So we were concerned that the Mini might end up going backwards into into something. We weren't expecting it to be a tow truck.
Oh well.
Now we wait for our Uber. Then the next day, this thing turns up, which turns all of the heads. Yeah. I know I'm being biased here, but easily the coolest car in the entire thing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're being biased. It was, on paper, objectively, the coolest car there.
So we both took some time to kind of get used to it, also trying to get our head around this event. We've never done a regularity rally before. And it's also just this onslaught of information, because you've got Ferraris and Porsches and all these amazing cars around you.
A lot of eye candy and a lot of distractions, and you're trying to learn how to drive a new car and learn how to read a road book and learn how to time the events and work out the average speed. Yeah, big, very steep learning curve.
Yep.
Can I just go back to the end of the first day where, because we finished effectively last, we received maximum penalty points.
Yes.
So we're effectively last.
Completely last. Yeah, it does not get any more last than where we were. So yeah, end of day 2, dinner was fantastic. Again, meeting great people, new friendships, the whole thing. We're very quickly realising that these are some of the greatest humans that have ever humaned, and we're all, like-minded car and racing enthusiasts. It was fantastic.
Isn't talking to fellow car people just the best icebreaker?
Oh my God.
You know, whatever you say about a car in that environment is immediately, it's going to be a great chat. Also, what a highlight, the amount of community support for this event. So much so that in the road book, they would say, there is a school on your left, toot and wave, which we'll interpret it as do a burnout and rev the engines. But they had all of the school kids out on the footpath. They were frothing. They were cheering and clapping and giving us like gifts that they had made. Yeah. And this wasn't just a one-off. This was practically every school we went past along the way. They had just gotten behind it, and it was actually quite moving to see all these kids, and knowing that we are responsible for nurturing these children in the way that we need to turn them into carhoons, right?
Yes.
So we have to put on a decent show for them, and knowing that a percentage of those kids that we went past, they will go, oh my God, I remember the day the race cars came past my school, and it would be a core memory for those kids, and what a privilege.
And then we get into day 3, which is really where we came to terms with this wonderful car. Should mention, we've done a whole video on this car. We literally filmed it right before this. So if you want all the details on this sensational bit of gear, watch that video. But we're coming to terms with the car, coming to terms with the event, getting navigation down. We're both taking turns driving and navigating.
And I should point out, by this time, we're familiar enough with the way it all works to start becoming very competitive and kind of a little bit upset with ourselves when we might lose a GoPro off the windscreen and have to spoil a stage.
I forgot about that. So you were doing this, it was actually on a track, and we GoPro'd the camera to suction cupped the GoPro to the front of the car. Halfway around the corner, it fell off.
It would have been a great shot.
It would have been a great shot.
It's a shame.
Jim's driving. Because we're driving, I couldn't get my seatbelt loose to get it, and it literally fell onto the windscreen wipers. So I'm trying to get the seatbelt loose to try to reach the camera. Then luckily Jim turned right, and the GoPro slid across the car, and I caught it.
I didn't turn right but it wasn't a great idea. That's where the road went.
Exactly. Then there was a point where I got really emotional. There's this bit of road, it was like in the base of a rainforest. It felt like it was resurfaced 2 days prior. It was
very tall timbers, canopy.
Huge, loads of vision through, all the cambers were perfect. It was the most sensational road. And amazingly, we were by ourselves. There were no other cars around us. And one of the first times I really had a chance to properly have a proper go. So we're hammering through this amazing rainforest and properly into it and zoned in, and we pull out onto this just a standard 80km/h section of road.
You went quiet all of a sudden.
I went quiet, and then I'm driving, and I'm struggling to see through tears, and I've got all goosebumps, and Jim goes, "You all right, mate?" And I was like, yeah, this is all a bit much for me. And I think it was the culmination of, we worked so hard on ReDriven for 5 years, hemorrhaged cash into it and immense amounts of time. And then you fast forward to this amazing event that we're invited along as guests of Wipertech. We're in one of our all-time favourite cars. We've just done this bit of road. I'm next to my best mate. And it was all a bit much. It was one of the greatest driving moments I've ever experienced.
Yeah, it was actually really good,
After that, we're getting in this other windy section, starting to go sort of up and across this hill, and we start catching up to some of the other cars. And in front of us is a Ferrari 355. And this Ferrari and us just start having this little play.
Again, like-minded people on a great road. Yeah, it was a beautiful moment.
Totally respectful. Again, you're looking at this guy's lines, and you're like, okay, he can steer. What he's doing, this is all good. We had our 360 camera out, so because of that camera, you've got to be really close to the car in front to get the shot right. But you could kind of tell, was understanding of that, and we just had this beautiful play. And again, you're there going, hang on, I'm on some of these incredible roads in a Group 4 rally car behind a Ferrari 355. Again, pinch yourself sort of moment. Anyway, we get to the end of this section. We had to stop because there was some roadworks going on.
And you couldn't get out of the car quick enough. We couldn't turn the car off because old school the turbo on this is not cooled, it just has oil, so you can't just turn the car off.
No.
You've launched out of the car, handbrake doesn't work, so I'm holding the hydraulic, you hold the handbrake, stop the car rolling, so I'm sitting there wondering what's going on. He's jumped out of the car and run towards the owner or the driver of the Ferrari.
He gets out, Antonio gets out. We've never met before. We just hug. We just like embrace, and we're like, dude, how amazing was that? That was the
beautiful moment.
It was, and we were both like kind of a bit like, oh my God, like that was just like one of those moments where you look back going, like, I'm going to be telling my grandkids about the
and how good did that Ferrari sound?
Oh.
It was another special moment on day 3. We're getting the hang of the way the event works, as we mentioned, but we realise we are starting to get into the points.
Yeah.
And the whole competitive nature takes over again. And once you're in the points at an event like this, you become a little bit obsessed by it. Yeah.
The challenging thing about the end of day 3 was we're also getting to the point, because you're therefore using more brain power, because we're trying to be competitive, we're trying to make sure we're getting the guidebook down and all the stages down and the driving down, and you're driving quickly and all those things. Plus we're trying to make content. So we're kind of doing like, trying to smash out all the social media content at the end of the driving day before racing off to dinner, because you don't want to be late for the dinner, because you want to hang out with amazing people and experience fabulous food. Then we come to day 4, final day. So this is sort of cruising back into Melbourne. It's still competitive, so we've still got a few of those competitive stages there. Again, hanging out and, kind of not battling, but just playing with other cars through different sections.
There was a lovely photo shoot at, was it Hanging Rock?
Oh yeah, that's Hanging Rock.
Cool.
That was lovely. Then another Ferrari story, 296 GTB, weapon of a car, left us for dust in straight lines. Like, it was almost like we'd selected reverse.
Yeah.
But through the corners, I think the little Renault did really, really well.
I think the driver of the Ferrari had a little bit more to lose should he come unstuck.
This is true.
That's something to consider.
But coming sort of through day 4, we're coming back into Melbourne CBD, and this is the first time we really saw the response to this thing. Like, obviously little school kids and people in little towns, they love all the cars.
A much higher concentration of non-car people at traffic lights. And I should point out, we're driving in towards the end of the stage through Melbourne, and we're still using the road book.
Yeah.
Now, typically you would just use some sort of navigation to get you where you've got to go, but we stuck to our guns and we used the road book, which was...
and then, we basically get to the end of the event.
Olympic Park at Melbourne.
No, it was the Tennis Centre.
Tennis Centre?
Tennis Centre, yeah, Tennis Centre.
What a fanfare. You drive in and there's flags waving and there's cameras everywhere, and everyone is just stoked that, they've done this incredible event.
Yeah.
The mood was just electric, for want of a better term.
And then at the end of the day, we had our, the awards presentations. Where do we end up coming?
23rd?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But it was in our class. I think it was something like 23rd. And there was,
there's a lot of
50
cars.
or 60 cars in our class as well. So we're pretty happy with that, considering day 1's absolute disaster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
But we're going to take it very seriously next year.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to go back next year. We've got a bit of a plan to go next year. Might be fun.
You should do it next year. Everybody should do it next year. Yeah. It's one of these events that take the week off work, do whatever you have to do to enter this. We should say, we know this is going to come across a lot like it's a Targa Classica promotion. It is not in any way, shape or form. Targa Classica are not paying us at all. They don't know we're making this video. We had no intention of making this video until the end of the event, going, we should really explain.
Should
what's going
also
on
a big
here.
shout out to James and the whole team and all the volunteers as well. Just did such a great job. Yeah, we cannot wait to get back there next year.
Yeah, it really is an absolute must-do event if you're into cars, if you're into driving, if you just want to hang out with great people, do Targa Classica. But most importantly, put some Wipertech wiper blades on your car before you do it, because they are simply some of the best. Look, I know we talk about this in all of our videos, but we genuinely believe in the product. We tested it before we said yes to, getting into a partnership with them. We have become great friends with the entire Wipertech crew, because they're just wonderful humans. We love the product, we love them. Do yourself a favor, get yourself a set via the link down below. You're gonna get 15% off and free express shipping.